Before we kick things off and hop into, we actually have a deck today, and that's antithetical to typical partner hacker fashion. Not only these are conversations, but what we want to do is actually give you some examples and talk through how to leverage nearbound data inside of HubSpot. And actually, we have Contractbook here in and then we have A8 and Happily with Connor. So we kind of have a little bit of everything right now. We have data platforms, we have HubSpot, we have services and technology partners in one spot to really illustrate how Nearbound can do all this stuff. So we're gonna have some fun, pull up some slides and have a great conversation. Before we hop in, Connor, I want to give you a quick second to shout out yourself and Happily A8.
And whoever I am on any given day.
I know,
I
right?
appreciate it. What's up? I'm Connor. I run Aptitude 8 is a services business in the HubSpot ecosystem. We do implementation, integration, and optimization of the HubSpot platform. So we've been working with Reveal and Reveal customers on getting their data wired into HubSpot, helping them leverage that data, enable it. We're happy to share a bunch of the cool stuff that we've been doing on that front. And the example we're going to use is Hapily, which is a HubSpot Ventures portfolio company that builds apps on top of HubSpot. And the whole go-to-market motion for that business is working with HubSpot partners and sort of making them Happily partners and enabling them to expose and sell our apps into the HubSpot ecosystem. So it's sort of like a ecosystem squared situation. And we're running all of that on top of Reveal and Nearbound Data. And so we're excited to share a little bit of how we set that up.
Fantastic. Thank you, Connor. And Per.
Yes, hey everyone. Super excited to be here as well. My name is Per. I'm heading up the partnership growth team at Contractbook. And for those of you that does not know what Contractbook is, we are a SaaS company founded in Denmark. We do contract lifecycle management. And we are using HubSpot and Reveal data a lot to promote and incorporate the Nearbound philosophy into our organization and within our partners. So super happy to be here today to give you some real life examples of how we're doing that and to learn from you, Connor and Jared.
Fantastic. I'm turning my head now because I'm going to present on this side and then look at you all on this side. So that way I can have chat going at the same time. So separate windows. And then like Connor, so I'm Jared Fuller. If you don't know me, I am the co-founder and chief ecosystem officer of PartnerHacker, but I'm also the chief ecosystem officer of Reveal. So Connor, two titles, two companies. We share that in common now. And you know what? That's better together, right? Like this is like a meta thing. So we're going to hop in and have some fun here. Let me present and we'll share some slides. Let's see, share screen. And we are going to get this one right here. All right, cool. And you can still see us. Okay, fun. I wanted to make sure you could do that too.
We're up. You got tech. You're live.
We're live. Let's roll. You hear me still? That's a yes, I'm hoping.
That's a yes. Yeah, we should have said something. Yeah. Yes.
Okay, perfect. All right, cool. I want to do the intros live. You know us. So Nearbound Data. So basically, what is Nearbound Data? You have your CRM. Nearbound Data is the collection of the almost metadata, so to speak, the account level data from your ecosystem. So the partners you're connected with via CRM. So the reason why I bring this up, this concept of like second party data, I actually have an interesting story that I won't go too far down the rabbit hole, but there are some implications here. And like, why is it important to anchor to, well, what is this type of data? First party data is the stuff you're collecting from your site. Third party data is the stuff that's going away forever. So, I mean, if we're talking about, marketing teams and how they've typically generated a good chunk of demand, they're going to need something else. And I'm of the opinion that this is second party data. This is the associations from, your partners that you are signed up with. You have terms. There is some governance around this, right? It is escrowed, meaning whenever you establish a connection with a partner, right, it's not being shared with someone else. So there is actually a framework around this. And don't worry, it's not like this thing where you're getting everything stolen. And tens of thousands of companies are doing this now, which is crazy. Like in just a couple years, there was across multiple providers like this, an explosion of this. And then like kind of why it's important. I mean, I touched on this a little bit, but Connor, I'd love to have you opine for a second on kind of like, why is this important? My one like quick answer is Nearbound is about the activities that other teams that aren't the partner team do. Meaning if you want the sales organization to reach out to a partner overlap account, you need you need that partner data. You need to know which partners they overlap, who to reach out to, and all of that information. And previously through spreadsheets and account mapping, what a freaking mess. So why is partner data important? That's my take. Connor, what's yours?
Yeah, I mean, I think you're right about that. I think the big thing that I would add on is it's no different where if you've worked with sales and marketing teams, right? And you sort of have like, hey, we're sending this marketing messaging and now the sales team is prospecting to this account and like all these people are stepping on each other's toes because no one really knows what's going on. And then you have this big like, oh, let's do sales and marketing alignment. Like I think partner data and sort of equipping your CRM and your go-to-market teams with that partner data really takes the same concept, which is it's not just saying, oh, who can, I think you have like a lot more than just facilitating the intro, right? Like it's not just, oh, who can connect me to this account? It's what is the broader system of relationships. And I think in today's buying environment, it's all trust. And it's kind of like this word of mouth component that really is captured in who has the trust layers, who already has relationships with this organization. And companies don't buy from other companies, they buy from people. And knowing what other people that we might have connections to have connections into this customer, this prospect, this sort of opportunity that we might be working together allows us to expose and work with that customer in a way that isn't just getting someone else to intro you in, but is actually helping understand the full context of what they're trying to solve. And I think very rarely are organizations buying one thing at a time. There is a strategy. They're either going through a big digital transformation. And so they're buying a whole bunch of different technologies or they're buying a whole bunch of different services. And the more that you can work with people who work with your customer, the more value you and your partner can provide to that customer. And if you don't have that data in your CRM, you're never going to have it organized. No one's going to be able to action it. And it's effectively just like, hey, we're partners. Isn't that fun? Let's shake hands. And maybe if we happen to find an opportunity, maybe we can do it together.
100%. I could not have said it better myself. Let's if we're thinking about this, like, okay, how do we go about using this? There's kind of like 3 plays we're going to be talking about today, and then showing you a little bit about how Para and the team over at Contractbook has been doing it. A little bit about how Hapily has been doing some very interesting things. The first one we're going to talk about is like that partner origination play. So how do I get partners? And the reality is like, look at the companies your customers already trust. We'll comment on this really briefly. Oftentimes, if you're looking at, let's say, for example, which partner should I go after? Which integration should I build? This is very often just starts with the things that your customers are already utilizing. So your integration strategy, who are your current customers, using in their tech stack? That might seem simple, but oftentimes partner people, we get caught up in complexity, right? So like, how do you go about doing that? Things like surveys, technographics, et cetera, before you've built a program. Absolutely look at that as your first layer. And then the second thing too, you can set up things like, most people today have call recording software like a Gong or a Wingman or something like that. You set up tags and filters for keywords like partner, like agency, like integration, and aggregate those on the daily. Like check that every single day where those filters came off, and take a look at that. That's living there, and you have a really interesting opportunity to go after that. Like right out of the gate. And document that and create this nearbound data, right? So if we're going to get nearbound data, we got to create partners, right? And then I think when we start to pivot to talk about like giving the value first, where you might run an experiment and let's say help a partner. Per, I'll let you comment on this point where you're finding the partners and then going and trying to, let's say, activate giving value first. I almost want to change this to helping first, because I think that's the right thing. You can give away like tchotchkes at a trade show, and then Connor goes and throws them.
Are tchotchkes value though? Does that
right,
fall into the value category?
And that's what I'm saying, help, right? So like if you can help someone, that's kind of what we're talking about. So how can you help first? Perry, you got an example for us?
Yeah, I mean, usually what we do to help first, because by default we don't necessarily have like a hot lead out of the box, but we try to enable the whole marketing program that we have, so we can do some kind of joint marketing together, helping the partner reach their audience that they might haven't been able to do so far because we operate in that market, just as an example. or it could do just to create some awareness on LinkedIn or create a guest article on each other's blog post, wherever we can create some kind of relevance, because that's kind of the keyword that we're looking for to do with partners as a first move.
100%. I think some of the easiest ways to get that activation going, exactly what you said, social, virtual events, social media, shouting them out, talking to them, interviewing them. I feel like there's some. How did you guys get hidden on my screen? Oh, there we go. Just want to make sure you didn't go away. And then making them famous, right? So I think HubSpot's done a very good job of marketing with their partners. In fact, I just did a HubSpot webinar yesterday with HubSpot and 5 of their technology partners, right? So like that means that you can do those little things too, these little mini virtual events, social media tagging, things like that. Let's hop into kind of like the second part of this. So there's tons that we could talk about for like partner activation, and that play then transforms into what? So let's say we have some partners. This is where we really get into the data, right? So Nearbound Data doesn't exist without partners. So that's going to be the bulk of this conversation. So
But before we jump forward, can I make a comment on this previous one?
Yeah, let's go for it.
Yeah. So I think what's really, really interesting. So right now we are actively fundraising for Hapily. And I think that the partner strategy is sort of like we're saying, hey, we're doing a partner first sort of growth strategy. That's the whole play. And I think that the skepticism that we run into that's really, really interesting is all around this, right? It's really easy to say, hey, we're going to grow through partners. That's what we're going to do. But then it's sort of like, yeah, but like, how are you going to find these people? And like, then you have to convince them to work with you, and then you have to extract value out of them. And I think the thing that we're really excited about when you talk about this is like, this is really the play. So what we do is going through these bullets, right? We first look at who are the companies the customers trust. So on the Hapily side, it's everybody who is already a HubSpot partner. Like if you are a HubSpot partner, you work with HubSpot customers. Therefore, you're the people that we want to go and connect to. For give value first, I think, and we'll talk about how we do this in some of these examples later, but by connecting with them with Reveal, we can tell them, here are all the people that already use Hapily apps that are your customers, and we owe you commission. So we actually are paying people just for having a connection to that customer as opposed to just sourcing it. And then I think that sort of falls into that, like, stop thinking and acting in a small way, which is it makes that initial partner conversation a, hey, I showed up, I knocked on your door, I have a check for you. And then I think when you go into that's really what makes the value of play too, is if you can nail this origination motion, then it comes into how do you extract value from all of those partners and provide value to those partners, which is going into that pipeline creation pay. So I think that the origination is the piece that I found the most skepticism from looking at like traditional venture investors. And I think that being able to nail, like, here's how we do that, and here's what makes our approach unique. You can like anything you talk about, here's how we generate value from partners doesn't matter if they have skepticism of like, sure, but how are you going to get them in the first place? And so I think that touching on this is really, really huge.
That was beautifully said. I posted in chat just because I thought it was funny. I was like, please interrupt me more, Connor. That's a heck of a play. And it actually reminds me of like, I don't think I've mentioned this ever when I landed the first strategic alliance with PandaDoc and HubSpot, which was assigned kind of like separate, bigger BD deal. This was a 7-figure deal for us as a tiny company. And you know what's funny is HubSpot doesn't monetize their API, right? Like they don't charge ISVs to build an app. You know what I did, Connor? I actually proactively paid HubSpot for every single install as part of that deal. Right. And then HubSpot was like, oh, we don't even monetize this yet. And I'm like, but I'm going to pay you anyways. They're like, okay, you have our attention. Mm-hmm. Right. Like I was like out of the gate, I'm like, hey, I'm not only going to help you do this, but I'm also going to pay you. And you're not even monetizing the platform yet, which great call out. Alrighty. Good thing you paused me there. I love that. All right, pipeline creation. So like we have this data here. I'll just go ahead and get into this. I love these 3 I's. I just kind of codified this in my head after talking through this for a long time, a long time, which is kind of frame this out for a second. Nearbound sales is not about the things that the partner teams do to source pipeline. I want to make that very clear. So why call it something different, right? Partnerships is partnerships. Like, why is there a new word, Jared? You and Reveal are a bunch of crazy people just doing your marketing stuff in PartnerHacker, right? No, it's actually very specific. There's a reason why I call it Nearbound sales and Nearbound in general. Nearbound sales is about the plays that the people in CRM, i.e. AEs, CSMs, what can they do to drive pipeline, right? So kind of pipeline creation and pipeline acceleration. This is their plays, right? So if you're having a hard time aligning with your CRO, right? The CRO is just like, give me partner source revenue, partner source revenue, partner source revenue. And you're the only people that are accessing the data, you're doing it wrong. How dumb is it to have all of this and as a company go and silo it inside of a partner team? I know there's people out there that Nearbound Data is stuck in the partner organization. So what do we have to do as partner people? What we have to do is we have to go build the plays and enable the rest of the company to leverage this data. Why was partner team siloed? Because you didn't have Nearbound Data. I can't tell you how big this is for the entire industry of go-to-market. Prior to having Nearbound Data, you could not have the sales team go and do this. You couldn't have the ops team push this into CRM and track it automatically, or have CSM. So I think that's the big, wrapper here. And so for a pipeline creation standpoint, there's kind of 3 easy ways to go and talk about this with your frontline sales organization and your managers, right? And I call them intel play, intro play, and influence play. Notice how the word referral is not in here, right? Like I want you to take that like out of your vocabulary and thinking of, the only thing that we can really do is, generate referrals. Like, no, an AE should not be thinking that way either. So first play, and then I'll kick it back over to my panelists here. Intel. So partnering with the right people at the right time. I'll give a scenario and we can kind of talk through this. Let's say you're selling into an account and you're selling into the ops function at that account. Connor, your team, they do tons and tons of ops, right? So we're selling to the ops persona. We got like a manager of operations and a systems admin. That's who we're talking to. We're kind of vaguely open to not, but we're really not super strong on the, let's say, VP of operations side. Instead of just like, hey, can I get a intro? What you might do is you might do an intel play and share something specific about what you're doing in that account with that partner. So you could say something to the effect of, hey, such and such, over here from your integration partner X, we're currently talking to this contact and this contact who we know reports up into this. Where we're at is A, we're trying to get to B. I know you sold to that account X period ago. Could you help me out with maybe a key business initiative that would align better to management? My contacts are a little bit quiet on the executive priorities. That's getting the answers to the test, right? So you could align to an exec priority, for example, in your next conversation downstream. So you're seen as a person of authority and interest. You got the answers to the test to build that executive alignment later on, because you might not be able to get that intro directly from the person. Connor, and Parrot. So some examples here or thoughts on kind of the intel play.
I think to your point, it's also about information that you don't know and wouldn't know, right? Like I think we're working an opportunity right now. It's actually it's like a happily Stripe joint crazy thing going on. But I think that like this sort of an example of our ability to go to, and we're having conversations with the prospect. The prospect is telling us, hey, we're evaluating between Stripe and Easy Pay, and we're worried about pricing, and here's the reasons why, and here's what this looks like. And we can go back and talk to Stripe, and Stripe's answer is, well, we're not going to change the rate that much, but like, here's what we could do. You should go push these value props of Stripe. And for us to be like, no, we already have that under control. We're selling these pieces, but we need you to turn around pricing and an example of that today so that we can anchor it back to everything else. And what this allows us to do is it's not just we're learning information that Stripe isn't learning in that conversation. And by sharing that and being able to back channel to each other, we end up being able to come back to that prospect and say, hey, we're having conversations with multiple people in your organization. And I think in that example, you actually provide more value to your buyer than you otherwise would be able to, because you're bringing your champion insight from other parts of the organization and from people that aren't in that buying decision directly, but influence that buying decision because others centers of influence are actively having conversations with them.
Absolutely. Per, on your side.
Yeah. So I love this so much. This is exactly what we are trying to do as well now. So as an example, I had a conversation with one of our AEs just the other day, trying to get through to a prospect, but hadn't been successful so far. So offering the assistance because I can see in Reveal and in HubSpot that they are actually customers partner A and B. And I can see that they're talking to other stakeholders within the company that my colleague hadn't been in touch with. And that could be the way around the blogger by, as you said, Jared, introducing them to the person that actually went through the whole sales cycle previously with the prospect that he's been working on. And this just has so much value, being able to do this and having this information right in front of you. It's actually, it's priceless.
And to bring this home too, so like these three buckets, so to speak, and why I call them plays, they can manifest actually pretty dang easy. So here would be my call to action to you for all listening in this section. Turn these into templates, right? And what I mean by templates, write out scenarios where you could imagine, a real world example of having that intel play where, hey, here's the context, kind of ABC. I'm looking for XYZ. That it's something you would be willing to receive and help someone out with, right? Make it very easy for your AEs to engage, and then give a really good example. Like, hey, here's template, here's an example. And if you really want to make sure that it sticks and lands, work with that partner, that account executive on that exact thing, right? Same thing on the intro side and same thing on the influence side. Another example with influence, you can use this in so many different ways, is we did a really good job at Drift with the Marketo reps. What we would do on the CSM side is we would just let them know, this is, pay attention to this one. This one's good. We would let every CSM know that we were about to have a big demo meeting with one of their accounts in their Marketo instance in advance of that meeting, and say, hey, just FYI, we're meeting with your account. Here's the opportunity. Here's the what we're going over on the call, kind of like basic call plan. And this is what we're showing in the Marketo integration. Just as a heads up, for example, in that CTA, we're typically doubling the amount of contacts in the Marketo database, and we know your pricing increases based on the number of contacts. Could you let us know how many contacts they have in so we could estimate whether or not they'll need to move to an upgraded Marketo plan? Do you think that they talked to their customer about, hey, you should really love Drift. Drift's amazing, right? Like that's an influence play, people. That's influence. They didn't do anything. They didn't make a referral. They didn't intro to me to new people. But after, whenever we'd show up to that call, guess what would happen? Those contacts would be like, oh yeah, I just talked to my Marketo rep, Susan. She was screaming Drift's name from the rooftop that you're the best partner and that every single Marketo customer should have it. So I'm really excited today, right? So the next time that's like your CFO or some CRO, like I'm so sick of like the hating on the word partner influence. They don't know what this means. Go read the book Influence. That's what you should tell them, because that's influence in action right there. That you really can't generate from other types of data. I need to document that play better. That's a fun one. I wanted to hop in too. There's some real world examples we have here, Connor, so I can kind of go forwards and backwards through these slides. You might want to jump around because we actually have some Nearbound Data in action in kind of like the A8 hapily studio. So let's pull this up.
Yeah, and I'll add one more thing, and then I promise I'll
sure.
jump into these details too. But I think the one thing that I would add is you have here on like under intro, right? Determine a joint value proposition and be able to run that with your partners. I think I mentioned earlier, like, oh, there's commission and you can show up with that in hand. And I think the reality is, right, like happily apps are anywhere from free to like, I think the most expensive Zebra plans, like maybe $600 a month. And so the like, hey, we're going to give you 20% commission, just like isn't really that meaningful amount of money. And I think what's really important here is like, what is that joint value proposition? So something that we spend a lot of time on happily is like for every product, building and creating like a services SKU. And so it's like, how can a partner actually use this product to sell additional services to their customer? Because the vast majority of HubSpot partners have customers on retainer, and they're constantly trying to figure out like a backlog and additional services they can sell and more stuff that they can put in market. And like, how can they provide more value to their customer? And so us being able to show up and say, hey, we have a guide for you. And if your customer gets this product, you'll be able to implement it. You'll be able to build these additional services. You can take Zebra and build RevRec dashboards. You can take Associate and be able to build like automation in your partner pipeline and some of these other pieces. And being able to give that to that partner means that that partner shows up and then they're like, oh, wow, this actually helps me accomplish my goals, which I think is very similar to what you were talking about with the Marketo example, which is like, it's not just, hey, how can I give somebody a check or how can I give a commission to this new partner constituency? It's how can I actually take what I'm providing into this customer and make it so that me being in the mix provides more value to my partner, so that then they see that as like this big win-win-win. And then everyone is advocating and trying to connect and surface the same opportunities because they kind of like stack on top of each other.
Right. Absolutely. I love that. Perspective. We're just dropping some fun stuff here, Connor. We need to double down on some of these plays even more after this. So awesome. Hey, what's up, Alex? Good to see you here too. Let's hop in. Okay,
yeah.
tell us what we're looking at. Tell us what we're looking at here.
For sure. So this is for the partner link in Reveal that we're using for Hapily. So A implemented this and set this up. We do sort of Reveal plus HubSpot services, and Hapily is kind of running on top of this. And so what we're doing is every partner that we go and connect to, they're going to show up in our Reveal pipeline. And so this is great for sort of those partner manager folks. It allows them to sort of have this place that they can manage a lot of these pieces. But where the magic actually happens, if we go sort of down one here, is when we are able to surface kind of those overlaps, right? So this is that partner play that Jared was talking about, which is we have all these partners, we connect with that partner. Now we can be able to surface for each one of those partners. And it's a little small here. So I'll try to explain it as opposed to, let me see if I can make it bigger on my side, and then I'll read you each one of the tabs. If you've been in Reveal, you know some of this, right? But what you have all the different opportunities that they might have. You have what are the common customers? What are the common opportunities? Where are my prospects versus their customers? And where are my customers versus their prospects? And being able to filter and match a lot of this is what's going to allow us to drive a lot of those conversations. So if you think about that intro or influence play, if they have a customer and I'm working an opportunity with that customer, how can they tell that prospect that I'm trying to land, hey, these guys are really cool. They provide a lot of value. You should really take them seriously. And similarly, how can I be connecting them into opportunities that they have with my customers? And ideally, if you've done the work up front to figure out sort of like how that joint value proposition works, if you plus your partner add more value to that customer, then they're going to want you in the mix every single time. And so if this is sort of going to show sort of like the sync back to HubSpot, and then I'm going to give you guys kind of like the big secret sauce here. We're forward a couple. I apologize. It's like 20-ish. I
go backwards
here. You're good. I know. My next button is like next to the end button on my computer. So I show the last slide a lot.
Oh my gosh. There we go.
All the time. But when we sort of sync this back over to HubSpot, this is like the secret thing that made me go from like, hey, everyone pitches me on this and I'm not that excited about it, to like, whoa, this is actually incredible. Which is, remember that with this Nearbound data, you're going to be matching against accounts in your database. So you can control what accounts you have in your database. So the secret that we've kind of been pursuing here, that like I'll give away for free right now, even if you hear hesitancy in my voice, which is that we have a product called Zebra. Zebra is a Stripe and HubSpot connection. If you use Stripe and you use HubSpot, you definitely want it. It allows you to report and sync and automate all of your Stripe data inside of HubSpot. And so we sort of look at like, if you are a Stripe customer, if you are a HubSpot customer, you should use Zebra. And so what we were able to do is you can go and pull this from ZoomInfo, you can pull this from Built With, and you can grab who are all of the Stripe accounts and customers that we work with. Or even better is if you are a partner to these technology platforms. So we're a Stripe partner and we're a HubSpot partner, which means we have access to a HubSpot and Stripe customer account lists, and we can create those as segments in our CRM. And then using Reveal, we can share those segments to our partners. So not only are we surfacing who is a current customer of us, but who is an ICP match for us that is in your prospect database. And now we have something that you can talk to your prospect about, or we have something you can talk to your customer about. So if you're a HubSpot services partner and we're showing that you have a customer and they're also a Stripe customer, we can say, hey, we should surface Zebra to this customer because one, it's going to provide them value. We get to create a demo for our application, but now our partner gets to unlock additional services that they can provide to their customer on top of that data set. And so with a connector application, that's really easy. When you take additional sort of like figure out who the ICP is, who are your target account lists, like where do you provide that value, match that target account list against the things that your partners are sharing with you. And now you have a targeted list of users that you can just go to your partner and say, here's ways I can provide value to each one of these constituencies that you already have. And so the conversation is not, hey, I have this Zebra app, you have this customer, can you introduce me to them? And they're like, is it relevant? Do they care? Do they want to talk to that customer? It's, you have a customer. We know they use Stripe. You may not. You may have no idea. I know. And I know they use Stripe and I know they use HubSpot. You should probably talk to them about Zebra. And then I can send somebody. And for us, our chief evangelist, Max Cohen, is like an ex-HubSpot person. He knows all the partners. Like he has clout. So we can give you somebody with clout. We can deliver them into your sales conversation. And we can give you a reason to have a sales conversation and give you a superpower to move that sales conversation forward. And so now we're nailing that intro, the influence, the intel, all at the same time on top of that Nearbound data that actually gives our partner the ability to sell more stuff on top of our data and on top of the strategy we already have. And so this was the thing that like honestly took me from everyone tells me they want to go connect with me on whatever these platforms are. I don't really want to share my account data. Like, why is that interesting? To, oh, wow, you're going to drive sales conversations on my behalf to customers I have and create more opportunity for me. That's really, really exciting. And so that's kind of what we're doing at Hapily right now and what A8 has sort of built into the platform. And so all of that's syncing back into HubSpot. And then obviously you can use all of your amazing HubSpot functionality to do auto emails and auto sales tasks. And every time you have a partner and they have a new opportunity and it's in your ICP, you can automatically trigger actions to your sales and your marketing folks and sort of start leveraging all of that HubSpot GTM orchestration on top of that Nearbound data. And I think this is where things get like really, really exciting.
If we're going to send the slides and the recording out to everyone after we're done with this, and we need to snippet that piece of what Connor just said right there. And you need to go talk to your CMO and your RevOps leader, because this is going to change a lot. And this is, again, like, why is this Nearbound data? It's because if this was just the partner team, you couldn't do this if it's just you in the one partner program. This is an orchestration effort, right? So the sophistication, like, of course, it's going to take someone like, that works with lots of clients and actually is kind of a, Connor, I'm going to call you a partner hacker right there, because there's what you just demonstrated is like, hey, here's some innovation that is totally like novel and you wouldn't think about it, right? That you go, now we can change how we target, how we message, how we provide value to our partners, and how we drive pipeline and deals. And those plays were not available as scalable plays, like, absent that data. So I think it's a fantastic use case that, and it's funny too, like taking two partners, so to speak, and having that middle node where you're kind of driving that product. I think you're going to see a lot of innovation like that inside of individual ecosystems. And that's certainly a case study. All right. We got about 10 minutes left here, and then we'll see if there's any Q&A, but we'll try to wrap early today. I know it's end of quarter for those offset folks. Let's hop into the third play. Why is this going backwards now? That's so strange.
It's not, you're going forward. It just, yeah, you're good. You're good.
Okay, there we go. All right, perfect. All right, play theory, pipeline acceleration. So this is for those open deals that we already have in flight. Now, a lot of folks are probably thinking like, it's actually kind of funny. I just got off a call where I had, actually, I'll say this. I was on the phone with the CMO of AirMeet. So Mark Killen, so shout out Mark. And I was on the phone with the VP of sales at AirMeet, Rosie. And we were going back and forth. And what was so funny is Rosie, the VP of sales, just kept on saying, we need more net new. We need more net new. And Mark was like, hey, let's start with trying to accelerate some pipeline. So that standard like marketing and sales leader back and forth was true. It's true for everyone. Oftentimes we get caught up here, but here's how you're going to be able to take this Nearbound data and show some definitive wins. This is the fastest time to value of any play that you can run. Contractbook. Let's bring this up here and talk a little bit about how you're using this to accelerate pipeline.
Sure. Let's just look at these numbers quickly. I mean, this is just to emphasize that this nearbound motion, the nearbound play, is really, really powerful. So what we're seeing here is that from quarter to date, meaning our quarter is from February until end of April, just shows that our conversion rate from channel qualified lead to an open opportunity is 100% versus our inbound funnel. And when you look at the conversion rate from inbound and outbound from opportunity to close one new logo, it's also mind-blowing. And although the numbers are relatively smaller than the ones coming from inbound and outbound, it just proves that this is such an efficient way because you share data, you work together, the better together story, the value propositions, that you get these pretty awesome numbers. So we just need to figure out how to scale the numbers, but that will come for sure once we really adopt the nearbound play.
Absolutely. And I think the other thing too is I don't know if people have heard, Connor, you definitely will have, is having run the agency side of things. You can have it what is it, cheap, fast, or good, right? Like pick two. And I think really like what you're always looking for is those different levers. So on partner deals, here's what you're going to find. Partner deals, they're either going to have a larger ASP, they're going to win faster, right? Or win at a higher rate. What I typically find when you're using this for like a tech to tech partner or like nearbound play and orchestrating, you definitely get two of those every single time. To your point, you get a faster sales cycle, right? And you get a higher win rate. Now, that's a fantastic place to be. That's a huge place to be because, sales efficiency, I don't know if anyone's been paying attention in the market, but quota attainment, all of those things aren't doing so hot right now in the market. So it's definitely a place to get the efficiency back in the business because we can't just throw dollars at leads anymore. And then taking a look at what that looks like right in here, kind of like getting the answers to the test to help accelerate that pipeline. You get to hop right into this right in HubSpot, right?
Exactly. We made this amazing dashboard, which we're enabling our AE team, BDR team, CSM team, product team, marketing team. We want to get it out there. The more, the merrier. So what we're doing is that we're showing the common customer base we have with partners. So what can we use that for? Well, we can definitely use it for seeing where should we maybe focus our next integration for product? Like where would it have a high value? Instead of just doing it in the dark or having like a fancy idea. This is data, it doesn't lie. It can also provide added value to our already existing customer base, or it could also be an upsell opportunity depending on how you want to play it out. If you look at the right side, we can see the number of prospects in the partners customer base, which is also amazing for us to know. Again, we can use it for where should we focus on the prospecting? Where can we make it more relevant for the companies that we're actually contacting and asking to spend some time with us and listening to our value propositions, but also for the product team.
We've also like blurred out names here, so these should be company names, right? So just so you're clear, like what are all these numbers? We just didn't want to be they're internal base. Each one of these is a different.
It's an actual company.
Yeah, actual company. So like you can drill down into that really quickly.
Exactly. But it shows
I think I'm going to interject in you only because I remember when we were prepping for this and I saw this and I was like, this is so cool. Like to me, this is really where I think when you think about like HubSpot is this GTM orchestration machine and then using Reveal to enrich it with that nearbound data. And this makes it actionable. Like it's not just about, hey, I connected with these people. I have this list of accounts. Like that flowing back into HubSpot means Per can enable, hey, sales rep, go look at this partner, see who else they have. Let's see how activated they are. Let's judge and decide where we're going to invest and how we're going to invest and like surface this alongside your GTM data for your GTM teams. Like that to me is incredible secret sauce.
It is like the relevant conversations that our CSMs can also have with the existing customers to prevent churn, to have them renew again is just amazing. We can talk about their entire digital tech stack. We can talk about integrations that we might not even know that they would be interested in because now we have this data here. So for me, this is the key to become more relevant and having more happy customers to get more revenue in there and to work with your partners and share it both ways.
And I'm going to give you something really incredible to think about too, like where this can go. So for right now today, you're able to look at that, opportunity or account and associate, hey, who are we going to pull in here? And you mentioned something fun, really good about the CSM play, where you can go from a position of, let's say you're connected with all your integration partners already, and that data is flowing back to HubSpot. So the CSM gets a new account assigned to them, right? So you accelerated pipeline and you closed an account. And that CSM can show up to that onboarding call and know, okay, I need to make sure as a part of this that we set up these 6 integrations. Now, I can't emphasize that enough, how your CSMs today, if you're not doing that, they don't know that. They have no idea. Your VP of CS has no idea. There's no way you could have that information unless the sales rep properly documented how it was all going to integrate in the sales process. And let's be honest, did they? Probably not. And did that flow through the CSM? No. And then you can even close the feedback loop by having a dashboard for your VP of CS that shows your integration ecosystem. For example, like, hey, here's all of our customers and all of our integration partners, and then on a per CSM basis, show the delta. For example, like, hey, Kelly's book, like we really need to go focus on driving these integrations because they're not connected, right? So it gives a big churn play. And here's where it gets really interesting. I actually think, Connor, what you've been talking about, I've thought of as some really neat and new strategy on how to like take go-to-market to the next level. I think that's the position that we get to be in now as, partner and ecosystem professionals, is take a role in driving company strategy. And I had the craziest one happen just the other day. They leaned into this play I was just talking about so much that they're actually changing how they do renewals. And because they're getting so many integrations going through their platform, is they're adding on a consumption layer. Now, do you know what that means in terms of impact? Well, what that means in terms of impact is that platform, by definition, becomes one of the most strategic investments for the company, right? So product leans in, customer success leans in, and by virtue of connecting integrations and flowing more data between their applications, that's how they're driving direct, like undeniable revenue. So I think as these things mature, we're just in the early innings of what you can do with Nearbound Data. You're going to see things like that happen where a very innovative partner person is able to really convince their VP of CS, their VP of product, and then even the CFO and the CEO to go, we're going to really invest in this because we're driving so much value through these integration partners. So just an idea to think about. I think y'all can be more innovative than you think out there in the ecosystem. Fantastic. Anything else we want to call out here, folks? We can definitely take some questions. We did that right in about 45 minutes, so I feel good. That was the set time. We were right on time. The 3 guys with glasses on time. I guess we could do that right. Any key takeaways, wrap up points that we want to chat about here, folks? Let me see if I can stop screen sharing so I'm not looking at this slide that says key takeaways. Isaac even joined us. Wow. Hey, what's up, Isaac? We had a CMO on the line. I'm glad that he was here. Isaac never attends my webinars. That's just me. So thank you, Isaac.
He's here for me.
Actually, you know what? Legitimately, he's here for you. That's why he showed up. If Isaac, you heard me talk, like, be like, hey, let's snippet that Connor piece. Like, we need to the secrets that Connor gave away. We need to cut that and then go talk to Connor. Like, hey, can we go tell this story a little bit broader to the market?
I think the thing that I get, like, I touched on this a bunch, but I think the thing that gets me really excited is the ability to action your partner data in your CRM and your systems orchestration is like really wild to me. I think that's just like one of the things where you think about how hard that would be before these kinds of platforms of like, go ask your partner, they give you a list, you upload it, you tag all these people as partner, but it's not dynamic. And so if anything changes, it's all out of date. You go power something and like everyone's misaligned. And I think that the ability to actually sync that across, action it, automate off of it is really just like this insane superpower. And I think the organizations that leverage that well are going to distance themselves really quickly from those that don't.
Yeah, what's crazy is like if you think about this context in the context of like I don't know AI. So maybe this would be the thing that I would take it to is like this is a moment. I think these platforms are what facilitated that moment. So you think about all of B2B data, all of it was siloed for how long? I mean, forever. Since a database has been digital, it's been siloed. And for the first time ever, now you can orchestrate that. And what does that mean? Well, that means that everything that existed prior that was built on CRM, that was built on marketing automation, does that change now that the data layer has changed? Yes. So, like, if we fast forward in 5 years, I think a lot of go-to-market plays are going to look fundamentally different, just the same way that things that are happening with AI is going to look fundamentally different, right? The data layer changes, the plays are going to change, and then watch what happens whenever AI and this stuff collides. I can't even wrap my brain around that at this point, but I can tell you this that the plays are going to be different. So I had a blast, guys. Thanks for joining me
Amazing.
and helping put
Thank
this
you.
together and all this stuff. I remember actually, Connor. I will call this out one last time.
Sure.
I remember the first time Isaac and you actually reached out to Isaac and you're like, hey, what are you doing with this partner thing, right?
Yeah.
Didn't you?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Because I know Isaac from ages ago.
Okay, yeah. So Connor reached out, and he's like, "What are you doing with this partner thing?" And then, of course, the entrepreneur in you is like, okay, "Maybe there's something here." Like you keep on hearing about it, and then you go and figure out stuff as fast as anyone, man. So I appreciate you this coming full circle, and Pear for sharing some of the secrets and how you guys are actually actioning this data in real life in CRM. So these are the stars here. Go talk to Connor. Go talk to Pear. Add us on LinkedIn, and we will see you all next time. Appreciate it.